Hey, welcome to Gracie Schwarzwald. I'm here with Erkan Mete, and we're going over a complete Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Self-Defense Course. We've been focused on takedowns for quite a few lessons now because it is an essential and crucial part of Jiu-Jitsu. But let me talk about training takedowns. Because the problem is, if you come to a Jiu-Jitsu school, or really any martial arts school, you are training to fight usually a sport version of that martial art. Even the most sort of combative realities are still focused on sport. You do MMA, it's still a sport. And what do I mean by that? It's why self-defense and sport aren't the same, right? It's not the techniques per se, it's the mindset, right? So if we're having an MMA fight, right? What is my goal here?
To win.
To win, right? I'm gonna engage you, aren't I?
Yeah.
Right? If it's jiu-jitsu class, right? We come in, we grapple, right? We play around, right? Am I trying to get away from you?
No.
Am I trying to get to a striking range?
No.
No. Okay, but what happens in a real fight, right? A lot of times, if you're trying to take me down in class or MMA, go ahead, take me down. Right? I can play this game of keeping you away, right, to an extent. So it's actually pretty hard sometimes when we get in here. You take a guy, he walks through the door, you take him down, it's pretty easy. You take down Julian or Victor, it's really hard, right? Because in a sense, they're playing the game. They know you want to clinch. But what's happening in a real fight? What's the guy going to be doing? Right? He's going to be coming at you. Right? He's going to close that distance kind of for you, right? So getting the clinch is kind of easy. But what happens in the clinch? Once you clinch me, I tried to hit you. Am I going to start pummeling, trying to do takedowns? Most likely, I'm either going to still try to hit you or clinch. Break away, right?
Yes.
Right? So I'm either going to try to maybe use the clinch, right? Which that's the best kind of scenario because we're usually better at it than them if you're training on your feet. If you're not, you're no better than them. They're going to try to hit you. So if you're not used to clinching in a way to defend punches, you could be in trouble. But what happens is people, when we're grappling in here, do I ever try to break away?
No.
Right? When we're on the ground at a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, how often do people on their backs try to get up? Never. In fact, I had a guy, one of my Patreon members, write me, and he said he did it at his academy because he was watching my videos, and the coach told him, get back down. Right? One of the most important things you could ever do from the guard, get back to your feet. And his coach is telling him, get back on the ground. Don't learn that skill. Okay, so it's a different mentality, right? So when you train clinches, this is why a lot of times people actually don't have very good clinch because they're used to the person staying in the clinch. Right? It's a bit like if we're on the ground and you roll with somebody who never tries to stand up again. You actually don't learn how to control somebody, right? Because they're doing it for you. They're just laying on their back for you, right? So what you should try to train a lot of times, and we do this quite a bit, is keep the clinch. Yeah, learning how to keep the clinch. Because let's say I come in, I throw the punch, right? You block and you get the clinch, right? And then you just let go and go away, and then we practice again. You've only learned half the lesson, haven't you?
Right, yeah.
Because it's not over. You clinch, I go, oh, you got me.
Yep.
I'm going to try to hit you, or I'm going to try to push you away and get to that striking range. So what he needs to practice is I come in, right? He's here. I'm going to try to move away, get him off me. That is an incredibly important skill. And guess what? You don't get it unless you train it.
Yep.
So one thing you need to, so I want you guys to understand that in a real fight, getting the clinch may be easier, you know. If you never train to get the clinch against punches, it won't be. But if you have trained against punches, it will be because if we're doing MMA, I'm throwing punches, you're trying to shoot on me, I'm going to make sure that you can't get that. But in a real fight, I'm just trying to knock you out as soon as I can, right? But in MMA, I will, if I'm a wrestler, I will maybe, or a good striker, I will try to break you off. So you do learn to hold clinches. But in sport jiu-jitsu, you don't. Right? I even remember a tournament, I think it was in New York Open one year, and the guy, I was trying to clinch and he kept pushing me off and breaking. He was doing a good job of that. He was a strong guy. And the ref started getting mad at both of us. And, you know, because we were engaging, but he was breaking off. He was more not engaging than me, but I couldn't really be mad, right? And I, you know, if the whole match had gone that way, I wouldn't have been totally mad at it because I wasn't able to control him the way I want or get the takedown. I did end up winning the match though. But practice getting the clinch. What do I always say? What's the most important thing when you get a clinch?
Keep the clinch.
What's the most important thing when you get mount?
Keep them out.
Right. So practice, one thing you can practice is you can just come in when you're drilling, let's say you're the one that has to escape, right? And I'm the one that has to keep the clinch. And then I'll yell, go. And then I got, yeah. That's a really important drill, right? Or we do the rodeo drill, right? You start with some kind of clinch, and you got like 8 seconds, he's got to break the hold. Here, okay? I highly recommend this. You cannot say you have good takedowns, certainly self-defense takedowns, which we really focus on getting to the clinch where we're safe, if you can't keep the clinch. You know, just like in wrestling, if I get it on the leg and I can't keep the leg, well, it doesn't really matter how good my shot was, right? So I hope I'm explaining this well in the different mindset and mentality of doing a sport where we both agree to play by certain rules, and thinking that that's going to apply to somebody who is not only not agreeing to play by those rules, probably doesn't even know what those rules are, right? So, you know, practice this, train this, really focus on keeping the clinch, really focus on breaking clinches, and make that a part of your training. Hope that helps.